There comes a time in life when you must stop explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. You could spend hours defending your choices, your path, your values, and still they wouldn't see it. Not because your truth isn't clear, but because they're not ready to understand it. And that's where wisdom begins. You realize that silence isn't weakness, it's power. The strongest people don't shout their worth. They prove it through quiet consistency. They don't chase approval. They live in alignment with their principles. They know that time has a way of revealing truth, while noise fades into nothing. When you stop defending yourself, you reclaim your peace. You protect your energy. You give yourself permission to focus on what truly matters: growth, purpose, and progress. In a world obsessed with noise, silence becomes your strength. It's not about ignoring others. It's about mastering yourself. Because once you stop reacting, you start leading. Once you stop explaining, you start evolving. So if you've ever felt misunderstood, if you've ever felt the urge to prove yourself to those who never believed in you, this message is for you. Stay with me for the next few minutes as I show you how to turn your silence into strength, your composure into control, and your peace into power. Let's dive in. Number 1. Stop explaining yourself to the wrong people. One of the hardest lessons you'll ever learn in life is that not everyone deserves an explanation. Some people will twist your words no matter how carefully you speak. Some will question your motives no matter how pure your intentions are. You can hand them the full truth on a silver platter, and they'll still look for cracks to criticize. That's why you must protect your peace by knowing when to stop explaining yourself. The truth is, constant explanation is a trap. It drains your confidence. It makes you believe that other people's is necessary for your direction. You start defending your dreams instead of building them. You waste precious time convincing people who were never meant to understand in the first place. Remember this: small minds argue, clear minds act. You don't owe an explanation to anyone who hasn't earned the right to hear your story. You don't need to justify your boundaries, your goals, or your choices to people who haven't walked your path. If they're determined to misunderstand you, no amount of reasoning will fix that. The moment you accept that truth, you free yourself from the endless cycle of seeking validation. When you stop explaining yourself to the wrong people, you regain power over your direction. You stop reacting to every opinion, and you start responding only to what aligns with your purpose. The right people don't need explanations. They see your heart through your actions. They recognize your growth without you saying a word. But the wrong people? They're not listening to understand. They're listening to argue. Learn to recognize that difference. Silence becomes your shield, and discernment becomes your strength. Every time you refuse to over-explain, you remind yourself that your energy belongs to your mission, not to meaningless debates. The strongest version of you isn't the one that shouts the loudest. It's the one that knows when to walk away and let results speak instead. You must understand that the world will always have opinions. No matter what you do, someone will disagree. That's okay. Let them talk while you build. Let them doubt while you grow, because when your results appear, your silence will say everything they refuse to hear. So stop explaining, start living. Stop convincing, start proving quietly, consistently, confidently. The people meant for you will understand without explanation, and the ones who don't never mattered to begin with. You don't owe the world your words. You owe yourself your peace. And the day you stop explaining yourself to the wrong people is the day you finally start living for the right reasons. Number 2, prove them wrong by staying focused, not defensive. When people doubt you, your first instinct is to speak up, to defend, to explain, to prove that you're not who they think you are. But here's the truth. The more you defend yourself, the more power you give away. Every time you respond to critics, you let them steer your focus. You trade progress for argument. And that's how many talented people lose momentum. Not because they're not capable, but because they get trapped to prove a point instead of proving results. You can't fight every rumor. You can't chase every opinion. And you can't convince every skeptic. Some people don't want to see your growth. They want to see your reaction. They provoke you just to see. You'll lose your composure. And when you do, they win. But when you stay calm, when you stay focused, when you keep building quietly, you take that power right back. You see, results have a language no critic can silence. When you keep showing up day after day, doing the work, learning, improving, staying disciplined, You build an argument needs no words. You don't need to announce your moves. Just move. You don't need to explain your plans. Just execute. The loudest person in the room may get attention, but the most consistent person gets respect. Every successful person you've ever admired learned this. They stopped wasting time defending their path and started walking it. They let their success make the noise, because in the long run, time always exposes who's serious and who's just talking. If you want to prove people wrong, don't argue, outlast them. Don't talk about your plan, live it. Don't react to their judgment. Rise above it. Think about this while you're busy trying to correct what people think about you. You're not becoming who you're meant to be. Defensiveness is distraction dressed as dignity. It makes you feel justified, but leaves you drained. Focus, on the other hand, is quiet confidence. It says, I don't need to argue. I know what I'm doing. When you stop defending and start building, something powerful happens. Your energy multiplies. You stop being emotionally tied to opinions that don't serve your growth. You move faster, think clearer, and attract opportunities that match your mindset. People begin to notice, not because you told them, but because they can't ignore what you've become. So the next time someone doubts you, don't waste a single word trying to convince them. Smile, stay silent, and get back to work. Let them keep talking while you keep building. Let your focus become your proof. The world doesn't remember those who argue. It remembers those who achieve. Be that person. The one who never believed, never wasted energy on explanation, but kept showing up until silence became undeniable proof. Your focus is your greatest defense. Protect it, nurture it, and let your results speak the truth. Your words never could. Number 3. Master the art of calm detachment. There's a kind of strength that doesn't come from being loud or aggressive. It comes from being calm when everyone else is losing control. It's called calm detachment. And once you master it, no one can shake your peace again. Calm detachment doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop overreacting. You stop letting other people's emotions decide your mood. You stop allowing negativity to dictate your response. You begin to separate what's real from what's simply noise. And in a world full of noise, that's a rare kind of power. When you're calm, you see things clearly. You make better choices. You respond with intention instead of emotion. Most people don't do that. They let every insult, every misunderstanding, every bit of gossip pull them into unnecessary battles. They become emotionally tied to opinions that don't even matter. But when you detach, you rise above that chaos. You learn to say, that's their problem, not mine. The truth is, most conflicts are invitations. People invite you to react, to argue, to lower your standards to meet theirs. But you don't have to accept every invitation. You can decline with silence. You can choose to protect your focus instead of wasting it on drama. That's what calm detachment really is. The wisdom to know what deserves your attention and what deserves your absence. It takes discipline to stay calm when someone disrespects you. It takes maturity to stay silent when you're misunderstood. It takes real strength to walk away when your ego wants to fight. But that's how you separate yourself from the average. The average person reacts instantly. The wise person pauses. The average person defends impulsively. The strong person observes quietly. Detachment doesn't mean you feel nothing. It means you feel everything but choose not to be controlled by it. You can care about people and still not let their opinions define you. You can work hard and still not let outcomes dictate your peace. You can face rejection, criticism, or gossip and still stand tall because you've built your stability from the inside. When you master calm detachment, you become untouchable. You stop taking things personally. You stop explaining, overreacting, and overthinking. You stop allowing temporary emotions to destroy permanent peace. And when others notice that their words don't move you anymore, that their opinions no longer get a reaction, that's when they start to respect you. True power doesn't scream. It stays composed. It doesn't argue, it understands. It doesn't rush, it moves with purpose. And when you embody that energy, you'll notice something incredible. Life gets quieter, decisions get easy, and your presence begins to speak for itself. So practice calm detachment every day. Breathe before reacting. Think before defending. Walk away before engaging. Because sometimes the most powerful statement is silence wrapped in self-control. Number 4. Don't argue with small minds. You can't have a deep conversation with someone who's determined to stay shallow. You can't explain growth to someone who's committed to gossip. And you can't expect understanding from people who refuse to think beyond their limits. That's why one of the most freeing choices you'll ever make is this. Stop arguing with small minds. Small minds don't want truth. They want reaction. They don't listen to learn. They listen to reply. They don't care about your growth. They care about feeling right. You'll notice it every time you try to share an idea, a dream, or a plan with someone who's never built anything themselves. Instead of encouragement, they'll give you judgment. Instead of curiosity, they'll give you criticism. And if you're not careful, you'll find yourself wasting your precious energy trying to explain something they're not even equipped to understand. Here's the truth: arguing with small minds doesn't elevate you. It reduces you. It drags you down to a level where your peace gets poisoned and your purpose gets clouded. You start fighting for validation when you were meant to build a vision. That's how many people lose momentum. Not because they're wrong, but because they're distracted. When you argue with someone who refuses to grow, you step into their arena. And once you're there, you can't win because they'll twist your words, question your motives, and make you look like the problem. That's what small minds do. They feed off drama because it gives them temporary importance. But wise people don't waste time defending those who benefit from distortion. They simply move on. The moment you stop arguing, you reclaim your authority. You take back control of your energy, your emotions, and your focus. You learn that silence doesn't mean surrender. It means you've outgrown the debate. You understand that not every opinion deserves a response, and not every challenge deserves your attention. Look back at history. The people who made a real difference didn't waste time proving themselves to those who couldn't see their vision. They kept working while the small minds kept talking. And when their results appeared, the noise disappeared. That's how it works. Time eventually silences the critic, but only if you stay focused on your purpose instead of your pride. Don't waste another minute trying to change the opinions of people who haven't changed their own habits in years. Don't get caught up in meaningless back and forth arguments. Let them talk. Let them doubt. Let them misunderstand. While they're busy debating your path, you'll be busy walking it. Remember this: the loudest voice in the room isn't always the wisest. The one who stays calm, quiet, and consistent will always have the final say, because results echo louder than arguments ever will. So keep your energy for the work that matters. Build, evolve, and when small minds try to pull you into their storm, stand tall in your silence, because your peace is proof that you've already won. Number 5. Use strategic silence to control the room. There's a kind of silence that makes people listen. It's not the silence of weakness or fear. It's the silence of control. It's the silence of someone who knows they don't have to speak to be respected. That's what I call strategic silence. And once you master it, you'll never have to chase attention again. It will come to you. Most people feel uncomfortable with silence. They rush to fill every pause with words, explanations, or justifications. But wise people understand that silence is a tool. It creates space. It draws attention. It gives your presence weight. When you speak less, every word you do say starts to carry more meaning. When you pause before responding, people pay attention, not to your noise, but to your composure. Strategic silence is powerful because it's unexpected. In a world where everyone reacts instantly, the person who doesn't react stands out. When someone attacks you verbally or tries to provoke you, silence disarms them. It forces them to sit with their own words. It makes them question themselves. They expect a reaction, but when none comes, their power fades. Think about the last time you stayed calm. When someone tried to get under your skin, you didn't argue, you didn't defend. You just looked at them, maybe smiled slightly and said nothing. That moment of quiet confidence spoke louder than 1,000 words. That's the essence of strategic silence, making your stillness louder than someone else's chaos. It also works in leadership, in conversations, in relationships. When you pause instead of rushing to respond, you give yourself time to think clearly. You remove emotion from the equation and replace it with intention. You start speaking with precision instead of impulse. People begin to feel your confidence, your maturity, and your balance. They sense that you don't need to dominate the room. You already own it by the way you carry yourself. But strategic silence isn't just about withholding words. It's about mastering energy. It's about knowing when to speak and when to let your presence do the talking. It's about understanding that silence is not emptiness. It's focus. You control the atmosphere by refusing to let emotions control you. When you learn this skill, arguments stop finding you. Chaos starts avoiding you. People begin to treat you differently, not because you demand respect, but because you command it effortlessly. Silence makes them wonder what you're thinking. It creates an aura of authority that can't be faked. So the next time someone tests or challenges your peace, don't rush to prove anything. Breathe, pause. Let silence carry the message. In that moment, you're no longer reacting. You're leading. Remember this: those who can't control their tongue can't control their life, but those who can stay calm and silent in heated moments, they're the ones who control the room, the outcome, and their destiny. Use silence as your strategy and watch how it speaks louder than any defense ever could. Number 6. Build inner certainty. So you don't need external approval. One of the greatest you'll ever experience in life is the moment you stop seeking approval from others. Because the truth is, as long as your confidence depends on people's opinions, you'll always be a prisoner to their praise. Today they'll cheer for you. Tomorrow they'll question you. If you let that define your worth, you'll live on a roller coaster. Validation. Up when they approve, down when they don't. Real peace begins when your sense of worth comes from within. Inner certainty is quiet. It's not loud, it's not showy, it's steady. It's that deep knowing inside you that says, I don't need anyone to agree with me to believe in what I'm doing. You can feel that kind of strength in people who walk with confidence when no one claps for them. They don't crumble under criticism because their foundation isn't built on applause. It's built on purpose. The problem with seeking approval is that it makes you live life in performance mode. You start doing things not because they're right for you, but because they'll be liked by others. You become more concerned with appearance than with authenticity. And the more you chase validation, the further you drift from your own truth. That's why it's so important to build a belief system that can even stand when nobody supports you. How do you build that? Through daily consistency, through keeping your promises to yourself, through doing the hard things even when no one's watching. Every time you follow through, prove to yourself that you can be trusted. That's how confidence grows. Not from compliments but from discipline. Confidence is not found in what people say about you. It's found in what you repeatedly prove to yourself. Inner certainty also means accepting that not everyone will understand your path, and that's okay. You weren't meant to be understood by everyone. The world often questions what it can't comprehend, and sometimes the best way to teach who you are is not through explanation, but through consistent living. When your actions line up with your values, your silence becomes enough. Stop asking, do they approve? And start asking, does this align with who I am? Because when you live in alignment, you no longer need applause to keep going. You can work quietly. You can build slowly. You can take the criticism and keep moving forward. Because you're anchored in something unshakable, yourself. When your sense of self comes from within, rejection doesn't destroy you, and praise doesn't define you. You become stable, centered, and strong. You no longer bend to fit someone else's comfort. You stand tall in your truth. So build that inner certainty brick by brick, through patience and self-respect. Because once you have it, no one can take it from you. And when you finally stop the world's approval, you start the life you were truly meant to live. Number 7. Let time and consistency expose the truth. When you're misunderstood, when people doubt you, when they spread rumors or question your intentions, your natural urge is to defend yourself. You want to correct the story, explain your side, make them see your truth. But here's the secret that strong people learn over time. You don't have to prove anything right now. Let time and consistency do the talking, because time has a perfect way of revealing what words never can. You see, truth doesn't need a megaphone. It just needs patience. When you stay consistent, when you keep doing the right thing even while being misjudged, time starts working in your favor. Slowly, people begin to notice. They see that your actions never change. They realize that your integrity never cracks. They recognize that your silence wasn't guilt. It was confidence. Time is the great equalizer. It has a way of exposing what's fake and confirming what's real. The people who gossiped eventually their own insecurities. The people who doubted you questioned their judgment. And the ones who quietly from the sidelines begin to understand who you truly are. That's the beauty of consistency. It doesn't shout, it endures. Every day you show up, every time you keep your head and down, your heart steady, you're building proof that no lie can erase. The longer you stay consistent, the more undeniable you become. You don't have to react to every accusation. You just have to keep showing up, because while others waste time talking, you're busy becoming undeniable. Think of all the great people who faced misunderstanding. They didn't waste their trying to win arguments. They let time make their case. They understood that patience is not weakness. It's quiet confidence in the truth. When you respond immediately, you operate from emotion. But when you let time speak, you operate from wisdom. Consistency is your evidence. Every routine, every small act of integrity, every promise kept, it all builds a foundation that no rumor can destroy. You don't need to rush to defend yourself, because time will do that job for you. The truth always finds its way to the surface, and when it does, the same people who question will be the ones to quote you. But remember, time only exposes the truth for those who stay consistent. If you give up, the lie wins. If you react emotionally, you lose focus. So stay steady. Stay patient. Keep working. Keep improving. Let your actions build your reputation one day at a time. Silence may seem small in the moment, but over time, it becomes powerful. It creates mystery. It commands respect. It protects your energy while the truth matures. So don't fight every false word spoken against you. Just keep moving with discipline and peace, because in the end, the truth doesn't need defense. It just needs time. And when that time's come, your results will speak louder than your explanations. Number 8. Don't chase validation. Stay rooted in self-respect. One of the quickest ways to lose yourself is to start living for approval. When your happiness depends on whether someone claps or not, you hand over control of your peace. You begin to measure your worth by the reactions of others. How many people agree with you? How many notice your work? How many compliment your progress? But here's the truth. Validation is a moving target. You'll never hit it long enough to stay fulfilled. The moment you chase it, you lose the power that comes from self-respect. Self-respect is quiet. It doesn't need an audience. It's built from the inside through discipline, honesty, and alignment. It's what allows you to look in the mirror and say, I'm proud of the person I'm becoming, even when no one else notices. That feeling, that internal peace, is worth more than any applause you'll ever receive. The problem with chasing validation is that it turns you into a performer. You start doing things for recognition instead of purpose. You bend your values to stay light. You change your tone to fit in. You silence your truth to avoid judgment. And before long, you become a stranger to yourself. You stop living authentically. And that's the biggest loss of all. When you lie from self-respect instead of validation, your focus shifts. You stop asking, will they like this? And start asking, does this feel right for me? You stop needing to approve your choices, because your integrity already does. That's when your peace deepens and your power begins to grow. Because when you respect yourself, you attract respect. People start treating you according to the standard you set for yourself. There's a difference between seeking feedback and chasing approval. Feedback helps you grow. Approval keeps you stuck. Feedback sharpens your craft. Approval feeds your insecurity. One comes from strength, the other from fear. And every time you choose self-respect over validation, you strengthen that inner voice that says, I'm enough as I am. The world will always have opinions. Some will praise you, others will mock you. That's what matters most is how you see yourself when no one's watching. Do you honor your word? Do you keep your promises? Do you live by your own principles? Because if you do, you don't need applause. You already have something far greater: integrity. So stop chasing lights. Stop waiting for recognition. Stop needing people to agree with your path. You don't need to prove your worth. You need to live it. Walk with quiet confidence. Let your peace be your presence. Let your discipline be your message. Validation fades, but self-respect endures. When you learn to approve of yourself, you become untouchable, because no matter who doubts or dismisses you, you'll still stand tall, grounded, calm, and unshaken. That's the power of self-respect. It's not about being seen by the world. It's about being at peace with yourself. Number 9. Walk away from noise without losing peace. There's a kind of maturity that comes when you realize not every battle deserves your energy. Not every comment needs your response. Not every situation is worth your peace. In a world full of noise, opinions, arguments, gossip, and judgment, your greatest act of strength is when to walk away. Because sometimes walking away isn't weakness. It's wisdom. You see, peace doesn't come from controlling everything around you. It comes from controlling how you respond to it. The noise will always exist. People will always talk, misunderstand, and project their insecurities onto you. But your power lies in choosing not to participate. When you stop feeding the noise, it eventually starves. When you stop reacting, the chaos loses its grip on you. Walking away doesn't mean care. It means you care more about protecting your energy than proving your point. It means you've grown past the stage where every opinion shakes your confidence. You understand that silence can be louder than 1,000 words. That not responding is sometimes the most powerful response of all. Most people stay because they can't let go of the need to be right. They keep arguing, defending and explaining, wasting their time on people who don't want to understand anyway. But the moment you stop trying to win every argument, you win something far more valuable: your peace of mind. The truth is, not everything that demands your attention deserves it. You have to learn to separate what matters from what's just noise. Some people thrive on chaos. They want to pull you into their storm. But when you walk away, you take the wind out of their sails. You show them that your calm is stronger than their drama. The most powerful people aren't the loudest. They're the calmest. They don't chase validation or engage in every conflict. They move with quiet confidence, knowing that peace is not found in being right, but in being free. And freedom begins the moment you decide your energy is too valuable to waste on nonsense. When you learn to walk away, you also learn self-control. You stop reacting emotionally to temporary moments. You start seeing life from a higher perspective. You realize that silence doesn't mean defeat. It means self-mastery. It means you've reached a point where you no longer need to prove your worth through words. Every time you walk away from noise, you create more space for clarity, focus, and growth. You create room for better energy, better people, and better peace. Don't let the noise of others distract you from your own progress. So when the world gets loud, stay calm. When people misunderstand you, stay centered. When drama knocks at your door, don't open it. Keep your peace because sacred. Once you learn the art of walking away gracefully, you'll realize that silence is not escape, it's elevation. And that's where true power lives. Number 10. Choose actions over arguments. If there's one lesson that separates the people who talk about from success, the ones who actually live it's this: they stopped arguing and started acting. Because at the end of the day, talk doesn't build anything. Words don't move mountains. Explanations don't create results. Action does. You can argue about who's right, who's wrong, who deserves what, but that won't move you an inch forward. Every moment you spend defending yourself is a moment you could have spent improving yourself. Every conversation trying to prove your worth is time taken from actually showing your worth through results. The people who rise above the noise don't waste their breath. They let their progress speak. Arguing might satisfy your ego for a moment, but action satisfies your soul forever. You can win an argument and still lose your peace. You can prove your point and still go nowhere. But if you take consistent action, you don't have to explain anything. Your life becomes the proof. The world stops questioning who people keep showing results. It's easy to get caught in explaining your plans, especially when others doubt you. But let me remind you, people can't argue with evidence. When they see your discipline, when they see your progress, when they see you quietly outworking everyone, they have nothing left to say. That's the power of action. It silences doubt better than any defense ever could. Some people love to debate, analyze, and criticize, but very few love to execute. Talkers spend their time describing the climb. Doers spend their time climbing. Don't waste your potential to convince people who aren't even on the same path. While they're talking about what should be done, you'll already be halfway to your goal. When you start living this way, you stop reacting emotionally. You begin to see arguments for what they really are: distractions. Because when your energy is invested in your work, you don't have the time or the need to defend yourself. You simply let your consistency tell the story. That's how real power operates: quietly, effectively, relentlessly. You don't need to tell the world what you're doing. You just need to keep doing it until they can't ignore you. Every time you take action, instead of arguing, you shift your focus from proving to improving. You grow stronger, sharper, more disciplined. And that's what separates you from the crowd. You're not fighting for attention. You're fighting for excellence. So stop talking about what you're going to do and start becoming the person who does it. Stop explaining why you deserve respect. Earn it through action. Let your results do the talking, and let your silence be your confidence. Because in the end, the loudest argument you can ever make isn't with words. It's undeniable results. So move in silence, act with purpose, and let success be the echo that answers every doubt. Number 11. Never take the bait of provocation. Every day you'll encounter people who want to test your patience. They'll say things to trigger you, push buttons to see how you react, and try to pull you into emotional battles that lead nowhere. This is how small minds operate. They thrive on reaction, because the moment you hand them your power, the moment you lose your calm, they win. That's why the key to isn't in how loud you can respond. It's in how calm you can remain when someone tries to pull you out of character. Provocation is a trap disguised as conversation. It looks harmless: a small comment, a sarcastic tone, a challenge to your integrity. But if you take the bait, you step into their arena, and the game changes. You're no longer thinking, you're reacting. You're no longer leading, you're defending. And that's exactly what they want: to see you flustered, emotional, and off balance. But when you master your emotions, when you choose calm over chaos, you become untouchable. You stop letting other people's moods dictate your mindset. You stop giving emotional discounts to people who haven't earned your attention. You realize that composure is not weakness, it's wisdom. It's the realization that your energy is too valuable to spend proving a point. Time will prove for you. The truth is, strong people don't take the bait because they know that silence exposes faster than words ever could. When you don't react, the provocateur is left with their own noise. They reveal their immaturity. Without your help, you maintain your dignity while they lose theirs. That's the difference between emotional intelligence and emotional chaos. One builds respect, the other burns it. Think about it. The people who always react, always explain, always defend themselves rarely move forward. They're too busy managing the noise. But those who stay calm, who let others talk while they stay focused, are the ones who end up leading. Because leadership isn't about controlling others, it's about controlling yourself. When someone provokes you, pause before responding. Ask yourself, is this worth my energy? Most of the time, the battle they're offering is beneath the mission you're building. You have bigger goals, higher standards, and deeper peace to protect. And every time you refuse to react, you strengthen that peace. Remember, this emotional control is a form of power. It's not about suppressing your feelings. It's about directing them wisely. It's knowing that your silence in a heated moment can say, I'm not here to argue, I'm here to grow. So never take the bait. When people try to provoke you, stay centered. When they push your button, stay grounded. Let them wonder what you're thinking while you quietly keep winning. Because the moment you stop reacting to every provocation, you prove something far greater: that your peace is not negotiable, and your self-control is your ultimate victory. Number 12. Be so grounded that silence becomes your statement. There's a level of peace that no amount of noise can disturb, a state of strength so quiet it speaks louder than any defense ever could. That's what it means to be grounded, to be rooted so deeply in who you are that you no longer feel the need to explain, argue, or prove. You don't chase validation. You don't fight every misunderstanding. You simply exist in calm certainty, knowing that time and consistency will handle what words cannot. Being grounded doesn't mean you're emotionless. It means your emotions don't control you. It means you've reached where people's opinions no longer shake you, and praise no longer defines you. You operate from purpose, not from reaction. You understand that not every deserves an answer, and not every attack deserves attention. You've built such inner stability. That silence has become your way of communicating confidence. When you're grounded, your peace becomes visible. People notice that you're not easily moved. You listen more. You react less. And when you finally do your speak, words carry weight. Because silence gives to power. Everything that follows Those who rush to respond often lose clarity. Those who stay still gain control. Your calm presence can more than 1,000 defenses ever will. The world will always try to pull you into its noise. People will question you, and sometimes even try to break your spirit. But you don't have to match their energy. You can stay calm in the middle of chaos. You can hold your peace even when provoked. That's real power. Not the kind that demands attention, but the kind that earns respect without a single word. Think about it. Storms are loud, but they pass. Mountains quickly. Are silent, yet they stand for centuries. Be the mountain. Stay rooted. Stay unshaken. Stay silent when necessary. Your stillness will say, I don't need to prove anything. I already know who I am. When you reach that level of grounding, you stop explaining your life to people who aren't living it. You stop defending your dreams to those who never had the courage to chase theirs. You stop arguing with negativity because you've realized that silence protects your energy than any explanation ever could. You no longer need to convince anyone of your worth because your focus and your results speak for you. You carry yourself differently, not arrogantly, but quietly powerful. People feel your certainty, even when you say nothing. So build that kind of grounding. Build it through discipline, through self-awareness, through trust in your path. Let your silence be your message, your consistency be your voice, and your peace be your proof. Because when you are truly grounded, you no longer have to say, I'm right. The calm way you live will say it for you. Silence becomes your language. Confidence becomes your presence. And your life, not your words, becomes your loudest statement. There comes a point in life when you finally understand not every battle needs to be fought, and not every opinion deserves your attention. The strongest version of you isn't the one who can argue the longest. It's the one who can stay calm, focused, and silent. When the world tries to pull you into chaos, you've learned that silence isn't weakness, it's control. It's the ability to choose peace over ego, direction over distraction, and progress over pointless debate. When you stop defending yourself, you stop feeding the noise. You start living with clarity. You begin to realize that people will always talk, some out of love, some out of insecurity, some out of misunderstanding, and that's perfectly fine. Their words can't stop what's meant for you. The only thing that can slow you down is your reaction to them. So you choose silence. You choose focus. You choose to keep walking while others waste time talking. Your calm becomes your armor. Your consistency becomes your proof. And over time, the truth always reveals itself. The same people who doubted will have no choice but to respect you, not because you argue, but because you endure. That's the real victory. Remaining steady when others expected you to break. Remember this. Silence is not an absence of words. It's the presence of strength. It's knowing you don't have to announce your worth, explain your journey, or justify your decision. You just keep showing up, building and growing until your results do all the talking. So from this moment forward, don't rush to defend yourself. Don't chase validation. Don't react to provocation. Let your discipline, your composure, and your quiet confidence speak on your behalf. Let your silence be your roar. Let your focus be your defense. And let your peace be the final word that no one can argue against. Because in the end, what your words never could. That you were never here to explain yourself. You were here to prove yourself through how you lived.